That's right. Hey, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on the Chateau de Mars Hill Network. I am the host of the Whitty Review Show. Hopefully, all of you guys can hear me too. I had a little bit of microphone problem there at a minute and got worried that you guys were going to be able to hear my lovely voice or, the sounds of the devil's horn, as I would call it. But I am your host, Slick Whitty, a.k.a. Steve Whitmer, a.k.a. Baron of Banville, a.k.a. the most feared man of Central Indiana, a.k.a. the guy to get people scared where they had to delete their LinkedIn account. Oh, boy, what a day. What a week and a half, really. It has been it's been very interesting since not this last Friday, but the Friday before. I hate to play Spoilmaker, but I think everybody's scared now of citizen journalism. And we're back. I mean, we are totally back for now anyway, until I get blackpilled again. But there's a lot to talk about, so let's just get into it. We got 15 minutes countdown, so get ready. Get nasty and get feisty. Speaking of feisty, though, make sure that you're following Indie Reporter. Hey, check it out. 3,200 followers already. A week and a little bit ago, it was just under, what was it? Just under 2,500. And then after the two interviews with Robin Casey, and then the interview with Casey Hendrickson, we've really just blown up. It's pretty awesome, honestly. And I think there's some crazy stuff that is going to be happening very soon. We're really debating on doing videos because I made a quick video on Sunday night explaining like the connections. We're going to talk about it, but Bilberry caught on of it from Political Spotlight because I left it public. And so he started posting it around, which was very funny because Cassie Jackson, friend of the show, Cassie Jackson, she was like, "Hey, Whitty, how come you didn't invite me to do your stakeout to go against Micah?" Well, first off, that whole post had nothing to do with Micah. It really had to do mostly with Diego. But second off, why would I ever invite you to anything? I would be afraid you would stab me. I mean, that's how that's why I'm happy that she didn't recognize me at the Boone County Town Hall that Micah was putting on, because she definitely would have stabbed me in the eye. Pokepan went up. Everybody, Kiff in the house, strongest soldier, Spiro, D2 Windy. So back to creator of the Indie Reporter logo, by the way. Make sure you give him a follow. So let's just get into it. So moments ago, while watching the Administration and Finance Committee, Krista Carlino, Boozebag Carlino, she made a statement and she made an announcement that she wants Joe Hogsett to resign. But not only that, Bob Bosley, the president of the council, and Allie Brown, who is the vice president of the council. And for some reason, people like Max Lewis or Peter Blancard are not mentioning that she wanted Allie Brown to resign too. She just brought up Hogsett and VOP. I was like, video. This is why we do what we do, because we're spreading the entire truth, like good old fashioned herpes, the kind that you want, by the way, not the kind that you get from Vegas or Arkansas, honestly, to be fair. So that happened, but you know who is not against Joe Hogsett resigning? That would be our friend of the show, Abu. And he said, should Joe stay or should he go? And he says, you know what, guys? I don't think Joe Hogsett should step down. And here, since we're being honest, there's that other floating issue around the mayor's creepy late night text to a former city employee. Are they appropriate? Absolutely. Were they boneheaded for a sitting mayor? Without question. But let's keep our standards straight. Bad judgment is not the same as misconduct. Oh, I don't know about you, but Maggie Adams McBride, she went on an interview with Kyla, whatever her name is, and she said, well, I was getting harassed from people inside the administration. And when Kyla asked her what kind of harassment, she couldn't explain it. But she did say that she was not sexually harassed, she was not verbally abused or even yelled at. And when she started going into more detail about the harassment, she was getting the silent treatment, which is bananas. So yeah, Abu, that would be considered as misconduct, sending messages at not even that late at night, by the way, of saying, singing out poetry and sending a pictures like, you remember the good times, paraphrasing, obviously. Oh, the good times we used to have. Hey, I need your opinion. Why aren't you responding? Hey, why don't you respond back to me? Please. Yeah. So yeah, that is creepy. But obviously, Abu will be Abu. He said he's pro-establishment. Even last month, he said that he is the more older I get, the more liberal I get. And this was by far the funniest part. This is the only reason why I'm spending time on this. He posted this whole thing about I've had more than one person, including more than a few Democrats, tell me that if I had been elected a mayor back in 2023, a lot of the mess we're seeing in Indy right now wouldn't be happening. That is fucking bullshit, first off, because right now he's saying that Hogsett should not retire. By the way, only one Republican has said Hogsett should resign. That is Josh Bain, who should be the minority leader, not that scumbag Michael Paul Hart. F that guy. But during the Finance and Administration meeting today, they had their chance, but they didn't take it. And this is actually kind of funny from this guy, Little Angry Rob. Everyone stop being corrupt, please. You certainly wouldn't have covered up the Thomas Cook allegations, which I would argue that he might, when you were informed about them before the election, unlike the abject clown who bought the primary against you and wouldn't even comment on all this now because he barely managed to buy a Congressy. Talking about Shreve, because allegedly Shreve knew about the Thomas Cook stuff, but did not want to bring it up, allegedly. So what I would say, Abu is just as bad as the rest of them. You can't trust him. He's pro-establishment. He says he's liberal now, and he said that he wouldn't be asking Hogsett to resign. My personal opinion on this, if you're going to have him resign, it should be because of the 2020 stuff, not because of this bullshit, which, some of these ladies are completely crazy. Let's not forget. All right, so let's talk about Diego because we have 43 minutes left. Yeah, Abu cures all things, yeah. But not the herpes, apparently, from Arkansas. So let's talk about the Diego India trip. This is what we knew. This was what we were doing research on for a little bit, because if you remember, back in March of this year, he was at a appropriations committee meeting in the Senate, and Senator Fatty Cadora, whatever you want to say his name is, he asked the team, which was Keegan and some other dude, about where Diego was at. And they said he is on an economic development project. Couldn't say where, couldn't say why, but he just was. I figured it was because he didn't want to get mogged like he did from Ed Delaney when he's grilling him about everything. And Diego just couldn't handle it because it's just, he can't. Listen. Brown people are kind of soft. Not yours truly, but I'm only 20% brown. A little bit more during the summer when I get my sun tan. So, and he just didn't want to get mogged. He's just a sweet and cute little guy. Sometimes he just needs a little bit of cuddly. And hey, you know what? Yell at me all you want, but sometimes I just can't take it. So we ended up finding out a couple of days later, or a week, I think the Secretary of State's website put it out on a press release that he was in India. We couldn't figure out why, still couldn't figure out who paid for the trip. So this is what we had found out. And then he was with Raju, he was with his wife, and he was with this guy, Fabio Alejandro Perez Pereira, who is the CEO of Sohas Capital. Hey, guess what? I can do it, Rod, because I'm 20% brown. So I'm allowed to do that. Hey, next time you need a brown fellow to help you out, say a few things, just give me a ring. I'll gladly lend out my voice. Or what you should do, what Hammer and Nigel do with Joe Hogsett, have AI Diego. Would that not be the funniest thing ever? Where he's like, Rob, listen, I said to you that if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Let's just have a little bit of a contest, okay? Hey, high stakes right now. We'll bet my Hungarian wife because the entire country is having their way with her anyway. So anyway, this is what we knew, which is what I talked about on the Robin Casey show. By the way, thank you guys for having me on there twice. It has been a whole lot of fun so far. It's been a hell of a journey, and don't worry, we got plenty more. A whole lot of crazy stuff. What I'm going to talk about tonight is just a little bit. It's just what, as Diego would say, just the tip. So Infosys, which is based out of India, in 2015, Infosys was abusing the H-1B program. There was an article about it from the Southern California Edison workers were being laid off and replaced by workers from India. By the way, this is still happening inside the tech world. I know lots of people where it's happening. I think it even happened in Disney too, where they had all these Indians come in and And the people there were having to train their replacements. Otherwise, they wouldn't get like a really good package. Not the ones you're thinking, freaks. And so Raju was a key piece in getting Infosys to Indiana in 2017 and 2018. And then, lo and behold, once the announcement comes out in 2018, he gets a job at the IADC. Crazy, right? Holcomb and Pence both praised Infosys, even Holcomb saying you can't spell Indiana without starting with India. Now, you saw us posted on Indie Reporter. So, Infosys promises 3,000 jobs in Indianapolis by 2023. And so I decided to go on to H1Bdata.info, and I found over 2020 to 2024, there were 800 H1B applications. Now, it's reported that in 2023, that Infosys did not hold up their end of the deal about bringing in 3,000 jobs, but they still received $100 million in tax incentives between the IADC, the state, and some from the city. Here's the funniest part. But what part of about being compliant was you had to have a certain amount of jobs, but they had to have an average pay of $37,000 or $37, which was like $76,000 per year. So when you do the average of the H-1B applications from 2020 to 2024, they end up getting paid like $38. I think it was something like that. But their average salary was $80,000. Now, when Jared Evans, a garbage counselor, by the way, on the West Side, totally should have lost against Lisa, he goes and asks IADC about it, and they say, well, guess what, Jared Evans, the 40-year-old that lives with mommy and poppy, they are compliant, which was crazy, by the way. So in February 2025, Raju, shout out Drew for helping us out on this one. Raju posts on his personal Facebook about the EB-5 visas and giving foreigners their green card within a year and a work permit within 6 months. So fast forward to Diego, March 19th, about the budget hearing, which we already talked about. Questions were raised, couldn't get answers. Lindsay Eaton, sweet Lindsay Eaton. Hey, Shotty, why won't you reply back to us, huh, Shotty? We just want a little bit of an answer of what's going on with Diego, but we can't get it. So finally, Diego makes a statement about that it was not funded by the taxpayers. By the way, Kiff and Drew were at that meeting where he said, in fact, I gave the money back. Promises made, promises kept. I have the honor of returning the money. And guess what? It was not funded by the taxpayers either. Which then Kendall goes and meets him at a Clay County, I think, GOP Lincoln Day dinner. And says, hey, I want to be able to see the receipts. Tell me I want it all. And then he says, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. So, yeah, he's just an honest guy. He's just a sweet and little Christian. That's all. Brown Christian. Here's the funny part. I personally looked at Raju's FVC reports. There are like 220 something entries, which is just donations altogether. I got through 185 of them. 30%, I think it was 30% of his donations were from people that were either H-1B workers, which is maybe, or people that worked somewhere that had H-1B applications. And some of them were actually it might be more. Some of them were very clever with the acronyms. I have to go back. Do you know how long it took just to get through 185 entries and kind of double check and triple check on those? Those are 85. Those are 185 confirmed that I double checked. Took freaking forever. I'm not going to check the rest of them. I don't need to after this. But here's the funny part. He received lots of money from Indian-owned and operated IT firms when he ran for Congress, because what's even better, let's see. And as usual, I come with the receipts every single time because that's what I do. I am not the cheat sheet. I am not lame. I come here with the salami every time. So here we go. And also Chinthal and Associates, they are working for the IADC on basically, I think combined it was about $80,000. They renewed their contract I think they just renewed their contract in March. I'd have to double check. Not that it really doesn't matter. All right, so this is where he was. This was posted March 26th. I think that they Secretary of State posted it like the 25th. Wart is damn right. So as you can see, they have Diego Morales, Secretary of State, Sidonia Nicole, who is his wife, Fabio Arianto Perez Pereira, Soho's Capital, and Raju Shindala. And yeah, that's actually how he sounds like, by the way. They all went. Remember this Fabio Alejandro Perez Pantera Panini bread, Panera bread. This is going to be very important, all right? Because Panera bread, Panini bread, Panera bread. We're going to call him Panera, all right? We're call him Mr. Panera from now on. His name is no more Fabio. It's Mr. Panera. So Mr. Panera owns Soho's Capital. Right here. It's actually Fabio de la Cruz, Mr. Panera Bread. He owns Soho's Capital. This is where things start connecting a little bit because the big question was, we know the connection between Diego and Raju, but why is the guy from Soho's Capital there? Well, just you wait. So here we go. You can go on to InBiz right here. Hold on. Let me do a little adjusty real quick. Right there. Okay, there we go. InBiz, you can go and look this up for yourself, but we're whipping it out because we want the whole world to see. Because we love exposing ourselves. So, but if you go on to InBiz and you type in Fabrizio Perez, but here's the funny part. You can see it right here. It's not just Fabrizio, it's also Fabrizio. So he has, okay, let's count them up. He has Fabio Alejandro, Mr. Panera Bread. He has Fabio de la Cruz. He has Fabricio Perez and Fabrizio Perez. And here you go, Soho's realty. But here's the most important one. There's two important ones. One is this one, which you can see, the Foreign Limited Liability Company, because all the rest of them are domestic domestic LLCs, but you have a foreign LLC, and it's a Perez Investments Fund. Now, here is Raju. This is the most important part. Hopefully, it'll still work. What is the thing that Lafayette Square Mall is doing right now? They're revamping, moving forward, fleshes out plans for apartments. What they want to do is build a soda sopa over at the Lafayette Square area. And who's the one leading the charge? Mr. Fabio, Mr. Panera Bread himself, principal of Soho's Capital, Fabio de la Cruz. Yeah, Mr. Fabrice de la Cruz over here. He's trying to turn Lafayette Square Mall into a soda sopa, which I have no idea why you would even do that. It's crap over there. A bunch of Mexicans that do burnouts in the parking lots, totally destroying the area, and it smells like bad beans, to be honest with you. As the kids would say, unironically. Here's why. This is where we figured out the connection. This is Raju's, right? Yeah, right here. Gentala and Associates right there. Here's the funny part. There's Bella Raju, and then there's Raju. It's very interesting because here's Raju with Chintala, but then here's Bella Raju. But Bella Raju is also part of Chintala and Associates. I don't get it. Carmel Midtown Community Develop. These are two nonprofits, which we can go into a little thing here if I had more time, but I don't. Smells like weed. No, it doesn't smell like weed. That's downtown. Downtown smells like weed, pee, and Chick-fil-A. But Raju over here, what do we see right here? The Lafayette Square Area Coalition. And what is he? He is president. Wait a minute. The Lafayette Square Area Coalition. What's going on with here? Oh, wait a minute. Isn't Soho's Capital doing something with the Lafayette Square Mall? That's so crazy. But this is what we can't figure out. Why was he in India? Now we have the connection between Raju, Diego, all those three, because Raju and Soho's Capital from Mr. Fabrice, Mr. Panera Bread, they're connected with the Lafayette Square Mall. But why are they in India? This is my only theory right now. The only one that I have. Maybe you guys in the chat might have a better comment or a better theory. I think he's trying to raise money through Perez Investments Fund from the Indians over there. And by the way, he's also overdue on his reporting. Where is it? Yeah, past due. Oh, you can't see it. Right there. Past due, right there. Oh, there we go. Past due. That's the only thing that I could think of. That's the only reason why. Maybe if you guys have a better theory, but My tinfoil hat theory for the long run, I think this is going to be a massive fraud operation because Soho's Capital, Mr. Febreze, Mr. Panera Bread, he wants a public-private partnership, which means what? That means he wants taxpayer dollars to help fund this whole thing. And by the way, Mr. Mr. Raju, his nonprofit. Come on, where are you at? Is that it? Yeah, right there. This Caleb. Oh no, that's for later. Wait, Caleb Sherfick. No shit. Okay, that's for another part. Where is it? I just had it. Huh. No. What happened? Where's it at? All right, hold on. We're doing Raju Chintala. Right there, Carmel Midtown Building Corporation, the nonprofit. When I look up their nonprofit, they had taxpayer money do some development stuff over in Carmel, and there's a TIF on it. I can't even believe there's an actual TIF in Carmel, which is it's tax increment bond, but a TIF is used for a blighted area. Where in Carmel is there a blighted area? I have no idea. But you know what? They got like I think almost $500,000 in government funds to help rebuild an area. So you have Building Corporation with Raju doing development work. You have Soho's Capital that's trying to do the Lafayette Square Mall. Raju is part of the Lafayette Square Coalition, the same place that Mr. Febreze is trying to rebuild. That's the connection. The India part, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a massive nonprofit fraud at the end. I'm just calling it now. I don't have any real hard evidence, but we know how scumbags work. All right, this goes into the next thing. Okay, this was all there because, by the way, if you guys go through InBiz, you have to be quick about it. Otherwise, they kick you out. This is why I had to do everything through Google Sheets, just in case I wasn't going to have enough time. But here goes into the next part. This is where everything gets a little bit feisty. So last Wednesday, I was at the protest and covering that whole thing. Saw Andrea Hunley, by the way. I don't know how she got tickets over there, but we kind of know how Diego and Micah Beckwith got tickies. So they took this picture. The first picture was with Diego, and Sarah had posted it and made the joke. It's like, who paid for the tickets, right? That thing popped off pretty good. But then we found out that, well, I didn't, but they found out. I ended up finding out later, was that Diego and Micah were both there, and we're like, what the hell is going on here? That doesn't make any sense. So we're like, hey, go post it. I don't give a shit. So the girls are fighting. Where at? Are you watching me right now? Where? Hold on. So here's okay. So this is Michael Sherfick right there and his wife. Very feisty. So here's where everything gets a little bit interesting. I go and look up Michael Sherfick. Hold on. Is it here? Do we have pictures? Hold on. I know we have pictures. All right. So Michael Sherfick is his LinkedIn right here. This is very important because it's already put on our Twitter now. So he owns Sherfick Construction. He also owns Durapont, I forgot what it is, and 3% holdings and a couple of other things. The guy has, like, from 1995 until now, this guy has over 40 LLCs, and most of them go to the same address. I think there's like 23 LLCs, and they all go to the address that are active right now. Right here. So we check, and we end up finding out that Sherfick Companies donated to Diego. He gave him $2,000 at the end of last month. But also into finding out, Michael Sherfick, back in 2010, pleaded guilty with conspiracy to commit bribery concerning programs receiving federal funds. So basically, he was taking bribes from all these different people so he could hand out badges. We have been learning a lot about this guy, and this guy is a complete scumbag. I can't tell you anything right now because this is all alleged, but from people that have been reaching out to us, total scam artist from what it sounds like, total fraud from what it sounds like, allegedly. But this is what ended up happening. He got 14 months in jail. He had 3 years of supervised release and a $35,000 fine, but he donated to Diego last year. I checked Micah's reports, did not find anything. I don't think Micah is actually involved in this whole thing, which I'll talk about here in a second. Here is the weird thing. The 2014 arrested and convicted for theft, arson, insurance fraud. We weren't even 100% sure this was him. But then when we looked up the inmate info, and we looked it up and we correlated between when he was born and how old he was when the bribery thing happened, we're like, well, he's that old. You know, he was born, it might have born in like 72 or something. The ages line up. So we're like, we're just going to go for it and see what happens. Turns out very interesting. But here's where things get really interesting, is because we found out, we ended up going through his property list, which you can go on property. He owns, what do we show? He owns 3%, 3% holdings. So we end up going through the property card and we found one of the buildings right here, 2033 East 46th Street. This is the most important one. If you go through Google Maps, God, will it show it? Do I have it? Okay, so if you go through Google Maps, it will not show it. But if you go through Apple Maps, it will show subspace, which if you see right here, that is like a 12 or 15 foot barbed wire gated fence. And allegedly there's a bunch of crazy stuff that happens in there. And if you type in subspace indie into Reddit, you get some crazy stuff. So here's some interesting right here. For support groups, the Damien Center host. Oh, we don't want to hear about that. For sexual stuff, that's your cup of tea. There's not many alcohol-free spaces. For kinky stuff, unless you organize your own thing. There's Greg's, which is a local gay kink bar, though. But here's the most part. And there's also a BDSM place called Subspace, which hosts different events, including some for, that doesn't say pets, right? Pets and handlers. I'm hoping they mean furries. Oh God, I hope animals aren't really involved with this thing. Oh, good God, I didn't even read all of it. But anyway, here's the funniest part out of all this. I want you to watch this in real time. Michael Sherfick, company owner, right here. What does it say? Part of Duratech, GSA contract, and analytical instruments manufacturer, Sherfick Companies, inventor of blank, 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 blank. It doesn't show it here. We're going to click on this right now. He deleted the page. Yeah. Michael Sherfick, probably anyway, because he's probably the one who owns it, deleted his own LinkedIn page. And we not exactly sure why, but Rob Kendall talked about it. Casey Daniels talked about it. And everybody started eyeing this whole thing. And we're like, holy crap. So when I was building the show for tonight, I was going to talk about this. And I looked up his LinkedIn page, like, holy crap. He actually deleted his LinkedIn page because of all the information on there. Because there's like a bunch of pictures on there. There's like, hey, if you want to support a NASCAR team, which apparently he does through Sherfick Construction. It was unbelievable. But guess what? We have which picture? Oh, no, it's not. Definitely not. Very clever, Brad. Very clever, Brad. No, it has nothing to do with it. All right, so this is what I did. Everybody knows I remember, they're going to be coming for me. All right. They're going to be coming for me now because this guy has a lot of money. We're not exactly sure how he made his money, but they're going to be coming hard for me. So I personally went to this place on last Friday night just to do a drive-through. It's like, hey, does it actually show like Subspace on there? It does not. So I went there again. Oh, I'm sorry. I went on Thursday night. So Friday night, I went through there again. And the parking lot that's there. Actually, let me just look it up. 23.3. Hold on. Let me just. Okay. So this is it right here. Biggity bam. Right there. All right. So here's the lot right here. There was a bunch of cars. This is the fence right here that you can see. There was a bunch of cars there and people are hanging out. And I'm like, oh my God, there's an event happening. I can't believe this crap right now, which I did not expect. I was expecting that I was going to come here on Friday night. the place was going to be empty. And I was like, all right, there's nothing to this thing. Not a big deal. Turns out, not only was I wrong, I was really wrong, which I'll explain here in a minute. So what did your old pal Whitty do? Well, because he's such a great investigative journalist, this is what I did. Wow, that car is still there. I think this car was there when I staked out right here. And I was just focused on, bam. I was just like, all right, what do we got here, boys? Hold on. Where is it? So this is my line of sight right here. And this is what I saw rolling in there. Obviously, you can see a couple of land whales, possibly a lesbian right here. Obviously, this guy, creep, driving the Hyundai. And by the way, any guys that drive Hondas are probably creeps. JK. So, not women, they're safe. So I'm like, all right, this is very interesting. So I hung out for like an hour, and there kept people going through there. So I was a little bit thirsty, and this was the night before the No Kings protest. So I'm like, I want to do a walk around when it gets dark out. So I had my hobo gear out, or I brought my hobo gear, and went downtown, checked to see if there were any bricks. Did not see any bricks, but there was construction happening over at the State House. So who could say? I come back. It's dark enough now. And I decide to walk the joint. And let me show you real quick. So I walked this alley while there are a bunch of cars here. The gate was open, which I was not going to go through there, but you could, I don't know if you could see anything. Oh, wow, you can't go through there. So you can't see anything. All right. It's still like this right now. There's a bunch of ivy, if you want to say that, and you can hear stuff going on, but you can't see anything. Now, before all of you are like, okay, so what's the big deal, huh? I don't get it. Hey, you know what? If people want to swallow cum and open up their own anus, that's up to them. All right. They are an invited guest. Yeah, I know. Borka, 100% instant regret. I did not expect that to happen, okay? Like, there are a lot of things that I will archive, which I did. I did not expect some entrepreneur, inventor, business owner that has a NASCAR team to delete their LinkedIn account. I did not expect that. Otherwise, I would have used archive and I would have saved all of it. Who would have guessed, huh? That's what I get. Newbie, amateur. I take all the blame. I messed up totally. So this has nothing to do, by the way, with what member goes into other people's mouths or orifices. All right. This has to do with being cautious of who you know and who you take pictures with. So what do we know? Micah and Diego went to a Pacers game with this guy, Michael Sherfick, which there's pictures of it. By the way, Diego has gone to other Pacers game with Michael Sherfick. Also went to his wedding last year. Where is it? I want to make sure I get this right there. Okay, so this was back in May, and then this was in November, and you can tell by the same shirt that this was in May that they went to a Pacers game. Same thing with Micah. This is my only criticism would be of Micah is we know we all love Micah. Obviously, I'm still pro Micah, but dude, you have Omar, who is your literal research director, guy that gets paid $80,000 a year from taxpayer money, by the way, to do this kind of research. We're just a couple of people, a couple of autists out there on the interweb looking this stuff up that takes like 30 seconds. And just to do a little bit of deep dive on people and things. Obviously, Micah is not pro drag show and he talked about pride, and pride is a sin, and talked about all these things about the pride parades. And now you have a guy that's taking a picture with Micah, who owns a building where they're doing drag shows, they're doing BDSM, they're having bondage events, all this stuff. And you're probably wondering, well, Steve, how could it be? Hey, Whitty, how could it be? How bad could it be? Well, we found the Facebook page on Subspace Indie right here. And by the way, zoom in, computer, enhance. Oh, what is that right there? Right next to Glizzy's hot dog shop? Oh boy, someone's getting a Glizzy for sure. Yeah, I know. And Diego's a Christian. That's the funniest part. So true, but so true, Bartka. So true. Here's the crazy stuff. And I'm just going to, Rob and Casey, you could tell they were very uncomfortable talking about this on the show when we brought it up. Well, guess who's not uncomfortable? And guess who's not on a radio show? Guess who's on the Chateau de Mars Hill Network Tuesdays at 8:00 p.m.? This guy right here, the guy who wants to get dirty and nasty in the trenches, showing you the truth, showing it to the people of what's really going on. Giddy up. So, who do we have? Meredith McMillan is at Subspace Indy for the Freak Show. And the Freak Show, stuff like this is happening over there. Stuff like that is happening over there. You got some spanky stuff. You got a baby with some titty tassels on there. You got this crazy stuff going on there. You got that crazy stuff going on there. It's all a bunch of crazy next to Glizzy's hot dogs. And wait a minute. Does this not look like the back where there's the 12-foot guarded gate that I just showed pictures of right there? It sure is, by the way. That's what's going on there. And Forka's in the chat. Oh, he's on the Facebook chat. That kind of stuff. And I understand. And I understand that when you are restricted by the things that you can and can't say about the description of what's going on at Subspace Indy, dude, you got to be careful. And I get it. And there's this right here that I can show because it's just on Facebook and Twitter. And hey, Goon Squad, don't get too hard and wet over there watching some person dressed up as I don't even know what that is, and then getting taped around. No Goon Squad for you boys. All of this stuff is happening there. And then I found an event where they were teaching. Yeah, Mike still owns the building. As this time, Mike Sherfick still owns the building according to his property card. By the way, we weren't sure how long he owned the building. And when we looked it up, it looks like he bought it up in 21 or 22. So here's the other thing too so am I good with this now? I just want to make sure I'm moving on. Okay, so here's from the Indiana campaign report right here from 12/31/2024. And by the way, here's the weird part. Yeah, sending it. Hey, I'm not going to go that far, by the way. I'm trying to get in there. Here's the funny part. There is a major vetting process to get into there, which is so funny because they have a better vetting process of getting these kink people through there than the Micah's people do. Like Omar does a worse job than the BDSM kink poly people. And by the way, there are poly events in there if you go on the Reddit. They talk about it. Actually, let's just look it up real quick. I got time. Subspace in the Reddit. Oh, you know what, real quick too. There's actually Reddit pages on Michael Sherfick I found. Michael Sherfick. That's not it. Where is it? Anyone know what's going on with this place? From Hustlers Club, yo. Here we go. And then they talk about Michael Sherfick owning it. Who is he? The guy is known around Indy, deleted by. Yeah, I don't know who he is, but I'm not going to trust anyone that puts adulting in their profile. So everybody's talking about oh, here we go. This guy sucks. He owns a handful of properties on East Street, which he does in Bates Hendricks, and is the type of person who does what he wants with no regard to neighbors or laws. He's threatened neighbors physically and legally with zero merit, tricked the person into opening a bar in a building he owns, knowing they couldn't get a liquor license, and took over a well-respected neighborhood restaurant and turned it into a rowdy bar that is constantly in trouble with the city. Yeah. The worst part is the city has laws against most of what he's doing, and some is even already in the works. But because it all moves so slowly, it's advantageous for bad actors to do it and operate it, which that person is not wrong, by the way. We know. Yeah, the weird part, you're shitting me. No, yeah, we know where Gabe's at right now. He might be getting Subspace tonight. So. But yeah, there's an actual Reddit. People have posted this in Reddit. and we go into the Reddit stuff of, where is it? Michael Sherfick, Subspace Indie. Hey, you know, are there any poly hangout clubs? Yeah. What is Space moving to Indiana, looking for new friends? Swinger clubs. This was from 3 years ago. What is going on here? Let's see. Yeah, known predator in the local game. Yeah. So there was also an article from Indiana something. It was from Jacob Stewart. He wrote an article about somebody getting raped there. They got drugged and raped, and then they were kicked out of the club, but then they weren't technically kicked out of the club either. It's some fascinating stuff without a doubt. But, you know, this all goes back to the one thing is that Rob Kendall has always said, like, you got to be careful of who you are around because it's going to look bad, especially if you're Micah, by the way. Everybody's coming for your head right now. People like their kings. Hey, guess what? I don't have, you know, you want to do that crap, that's fine. I'm going to judge you for it. Don't get me wrong, because I'm a big shamer and judger. But this doesn't have with it. You're having Diego Morales, who said he's a conservative and a Christian. You have Micah Beckwith, who is obviously a conservative and a Christian, and he's hanging out with people that pleaded guilty for bribery. They're surprised when bad shit happens. Yeah, that's the other thing too, Borka. You're totally true on that. So it's just like, hey, man, it's a bad look. That really should not be happening. And obviously, the thing with Diego and his wife is really turning into something too. Thomas Cook rolling. Yeah, no, I did not actually. That would be very funny. But then we saw Diego's wife, who is in Hungary today. No, Slovakia. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we have to look up real quick. What the hell is her name? Sidonia. Crap. Sidonia freaking Nicola. No, Nicola. Sidonia Nicola. All right. So this is your honorary constable for Hungary of Indiana. Oh, let me pull this up real quick. Don't worry, you know, Rob said is like, oh, you know, now Indie Reporter is looking over Sidonian Diego's wife. So, by the way, sounds very creepy. And when I was listening to that today, I'm like, oh, God, he's going to think that we're like a bunch of perverts. Good thing there's a woman on the crew. So anyway, Liberim, so she's self-employed for Liberim Vivera. Let's do this in real time. We got like 10 minutes right now. Let's have some fun. No, not going undercover. I have a limit. Listen, everybody is going to be going after me now. And I already know that I have a target on my back from all the shit lips that are trying to mass report me. What people want to do right now, and I'm not just talking about the left, but it's also the right, and it's other people in very important areas and very important positions. They would love to see Indie Reporter destroyed. The amount of followers, and Tony Katz talked about us yesterday, which apparently is a big deal. I'm not a big radio guy, but we were told that it's a big deal. But we're and then Abu talked about the felon thing on the cheat sheet. Like, we're driving some of these news to be talked about. Like, let me just bring up a perfect example. Let me bring up a perfect example of this. We posted up. I was watching this. I posted it up about Carlino says that Hogsett and Vop and Ali Brown should resign. When you go and look at some of what Peter Blankard or Max Lewis is posting, they're saying Krista Carlino says Joe Hogsett should resign. And I think Peter Blankard say, hey, she's also saying that Vop should resign, but they're not saying that Ali should resign. So I was watching this live, clipping this thing. I recorded the entire hour and a half or however it was long, Administration and Finance Committee, because Haas was in there, which we're going to post tomorrow. There was some trans person, which we're going to post tomorrow, which is why we watched some of this stuff. And we're going to be posting both of those tomorrow. But this was the most important thing, was the person who chaired the committee, who did a terrible job, realizes that she did a terrible job, is now turning on Vop and Allie Brown and Hogshead, which, by the way, Vop Osley donated money to Carlino, and I think both of her elections, definitely the last election, but I'm pretty sure throughout the last couple of years. Krista got engaged from some guy, and she was probably distracted by getting subspaced or whatever. But that's the kind of stuff that we're bringing on there. Nobody else is talking about the entire picture. But I want to do this in real time because V24, Damon, hold on. Where is it at? I want to make sure I get this right. Name is, no, we're going to do V24. That's what we're going to do. All right. So yeah, we got like 5-6 minutes. Total pass. She's stanky for sure. So it shows that she was president for V24 Works back in 23 to 2024. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, well, she's a recruiting company offering HR services. Maybe that's why she's the honorary consul. Well, guess what? She stopped doing that back in 2024. No, not Brad. I completely agree. I don't think they should resign for that. If anything, they should resign because of 2020. I mean, I think that we could talk about that another time, but that Maggie McBride Abbins person is a complete lunatic. PH is off. Yeah, definitely. You got to throw some lemon juice on that shit. So Sidonia, Nicole, yeah, you know what? This is why I'm not on the radio. Yeah, I can't wait for them to clip this later. Like, Whitty said something about putting lemon juice to testing the pH level. All right, so here's the funny part. They're very interesting. So Sidonia, she owns Liberum Consulting. Liberum Consulting is at 36 at Keystone at this. What's the other company that she owns? That she's self-employed? Liberum Vivera. I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's a meditation thing. Crap. We're also going to do Google Maps. We're going to lock and load. We got a couple of minutes left, but I want to make sure that we talk about this. Biggity bam. Right there and right here. Turn around real quick. And what do we see? Oh my God, V24 staffing. That's so crazy. You mean the place that she was president for what was it, a year and a half, a year and 9 months, but she's not anymore. But allegedly it's there. Oh, don't you worry, folks. It gets a little bit more weird. Don't you forget, there's more. Let's look up V24 as register. No, the business name. V24. I'm not a robot. Oh, we're doing it. I knew it was going to happen. Damn it, Elon. Did I goof it up? Hey, I got it right on. All right, so V24 staffing, assumed business name from Damian Pondale, by the way. Damian Pondale. This is important. We're going to go to Open Secrets real quick. Is it Open Secrets or hopefully I'm right? Yes, it is. All right. Haha, we are so back, boys. All right, we're looking for donors. We're looking for this guy. We're looking for that guy. And we're looking for with the P and the Damian Pondale. Who do they do? Oh, 2017 donated. Also, 2024 donated. I don't know who Michael Adams is in Kentucky. Yeah. Don't you worry. It gets a little bit more D2 Indy. It gets a little bit more weird. So we're just going to do this real quick. V24 staffing is at that address. I think that's all I had. There was something else that was connected to it. V24. It was somewhere on. No, let's look up V24. Leo Perez. I think that's what it was. I think that's what I found earlier. South Keystone on Epler. He owns that. You know what? I can't remember exactly what it was. I actually have like this whole document that I have. Let's see real quick. I've been doing screenshots so I can save. Oh, yeah, by the way, Damian Pondale, this was on his LinkedIn. This really captured the essence of what we do and why we do it. Thank you, IDOA, Division of Supplier Diversity, for sharing V20 Works with the world. And you see his wife, and you see Damian Pondale. You see that. Damian Pondale for Liberum. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, for the registered agent is Leo Perez. Same address, by the way, on Keystone Avenue. There's that. Lafayette Square. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, that's kind of all I have for that. All right, I'm at my time. Get ready, producer John. So there was one more thing I wanted to bring up, if I can remember. Hopefully it's still around for Sohos. Where is No, I want to look at. This was actually Fabrizio Perez and Leo Perez, and I'm like, okay, are they related? I know there's a lot of Perez's out there, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Is that gonna work? Come on, do it for me. Crosswalks. Damn you with the crosswalks. Okay, there we go. Fabrizio Perez. So I looked this up on their Soho's Realty, maybe. No, that's not it. Maybe. Oh no, it was the funded one. This is important. Yeah, the foreign LLC. It's the jurisdiction of formation is in Florida. So it's actually based out of Florida, but the principal office address is on Lafayette Road, the same place of where he's wanting to do the Lafayette Square Mall stuff. So I just thought that was interesting too. All right, producer John, get ready. So that's all I got. Don't forget Saturday show at 8:00 p.m. To have no idea what I'm talking about on YouTube on the Whitty Reviews channel. Make sure you're following Any Reporter. We got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be dropping tomorrow. That's a little bit interesting, a little bit schizo, but we're going to be following up. Also, we're going to be clipping some stuff tonight so we can post it for tomorrow of some of the stuff that came out of the meeting today. So don't forget, mouthwash is next. Love you guys. Bye.